Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let the Rest Burn. It has been a while since I've been here, to be honest. I have been recalibrating. We'll say I've been burning some things down myself as I prepared to launch the next season of my podcast. Today, I'm actually recording this going live on YouTube. So I'm changing it up here. I have my podcast hosted on Substack, which I think is such a remarkable platform for writers, artists, creators, and people who are here to just show up and share and reach those of you that are wanting information, wanting help, wanting community. And so I am changing it up here a little bit. So I'm excited to have you join me here. If you are catching me live on YouTube, then you are in for a treat because my podcast is typically behind a paywall on Substack. So to watch my other podcast episodes, which I've got a couple of seasons on there, you need to become a paid subscriber to my Substack. And I've made it quite accessible. $11 a month, cancel anytime. But this way I can be supported for my work. You can get the information and we can all keep this going. So welcome, welcome. I've missed podcasting. I'll be honest with you. It's one of my favorite things because I don't know. Do y'all have the app Marco Polo? Because if you don't, you should get it. It's a video messaging app, and I have it with all of my closest friends. And it's like a little video journal that we step into every day. When we're in the car, we're talking to one another. When we're, doing laundry, we're talking to each other. I'll do a whole episode on this. Don't worry. We'll get into what Marco Polo has become, especially for those of us that are divorced and dating, if any of y'all know what I'm talking about. So here is the crazy part about all of this, okay? We are all showing up trying to take care of ourselves. And the name of this episode is, are we doing self-care wrong? And the honest truth is I think we are. I think we've been spoon-fed this mixed up uh sideways version of what self-care actually is. And it's actually taking us out of our bodies and the care that ourselves actually need. So this whole season for me is going to be about emotional alchemy. Emotional alchemy is a couple different things. It is actually listening and understanding what your body and your nervous system is trying to tell you, identifying the nuanced, kind of tricky, unique flavor of your emotional experience, and then allowing it to alchemize or transform inside of you into something that you can create. Okay, so an example of this would be grief. Grief is an emotional experience and a sensational experience that can take people down for days, months, years. And grief is such a profoundly powerful emotional experience and sensation that I actually don't want to get rid of it. It's not a bad emotion. It is an emotion that alchemizes into love. Because to grieve something means that you have loved it immensely. So, to alchemize this in our body, we actually allow our physical body to experience the feeling, the sensation of grief without attaching story. And we step into this space physically and let our body transform it into love. Now, you might be like, Colleen, I don't know what you're talking about. This is crazy sauce. And we're going to get into it this season. We're going to talk about what that actually looks like. A lot of it has to do with literally doing nothing. Like actually just doing nothing, being with your body as it naturally does this process. This is what I mean when I say I think we're doing self-care wrong. Self-care is a really big word, okay? But it has to start with what do we actually need? What do we actually need? Not what are we supposed to need or what are we supposed to do or what should we do to feel better, to release emotional blocks, to feel fulfilled, peaceful, healthy, happy, all of those things. But how do we know what we actually need if we're not asking our bodies, if we're only asking our minds, right? Or if we're just looking outside of ourselves to determine whether or not this is indeed the care we need. So an example would be Yoga. I love yoga. I absolutely love the practice of yoga in all of its forms, not just the physical part of yoga, hatha. I really, really love the breath work. I love the meditation. I love the spiritual practice. But let's just take the physical act of yoga, okay? The going to a yoga class. Self-care would be, go to yoga 3 times a week at least, meditate every single morning, have a protein smoothie for breakfast. And it's like, well, what if I wake up and I listen to my body? I give myself space to listen. This could be meditative, yes, but it really is just about actually physically being with your body. And my body says no to yoga that day. And I actually need more meditation, or I need to go walk in the grass barefoot. What if my body wants to have coffee with a friend? What if I actually listen to what I need instead of this designated structural system? Now, I get it. I get it. You guys are like, well, what if my body wants to turn on the TV and do nothing? The thing is we have to get really clear and discerning about what our body needs versus what our mind wants to escape with, right? So that's a big piece of this emotional alchemy piece, and this is what I want to be talking about and teaching on this season is how do we actually listen to our body, and what's stopping us from leaning in and hearing what our nervous system actually needs, because we have been trained to the max to ignore our body and to escape it instead. um, I see this everywhere. I see this in every facet of human life. I see it in addiction. I see it in relationships. I see it in sobriety. I see it everywhere. I see it where people are just not letting themselves listen to their body and lean in. And sometimes your body is telling you that it's afraid or that there's a block or that something needs to be addressed. Sometimes your body is stuck in old patterns, and in order for you to do something new might feel a little scary, and we can work with that. But if we don't listen, right? If you don't give yourself the opportunity to just like lean in and be with your body, how are you going to know what you need? Self-care to me begins with the self. And it begins with the inner self, which is this part of you that needs to be fiercely protected by the world. Okay, I know most of you probably wake up and your alarm's on your phone, right? So the first thing that we look at is our phone. So immediately the world comes rushing in. Immediately we are being intercepted. The self is being invaded by the world. I'm a single mom. My children typically are part of the first things I do in the morning, the first people I talk to in the morning. My dogs typically wake me up every morning to go outside and to eat. So they're other beings. There's all sorts of pulls to your nervous system and pulls to your attention when you first wake up. So, how do we protect that? How do we step back into the space where we want to lean in and listen? Just this morning, I did have a yoga class scheduled. Um, and I woke up and my body just wanted to sit in the sun, feel the warmth of the sun on the couch, and listen to meditative music and just allow. And oh man, did I fight this one, y'all? There's dishes to be done, there's things to do, um, you know, I love yoga. I want to go to this class. It's one of my favorites. There's a real cute guy in this class regularly. I kind of wanted to, show up regularly and see if I can get his attention. But there's all these pulls. There's all these things. I have a million things I could do for work. I could have started, recording this morning. But instead, I sat with my body. And in fact, I even like opened my shirt a little bit. I let the sun fully hit the skin on my chest. I closed my eyes. I just allowed. And it's not always clear. Okay. It's not always clear what my body needs. Not always clear that it's the right choice. But what I know is that it provides space for the alchemy that my emotional experience needs. I've been, having a lot of grief lately, and we'll get into that this season about the relationship I just had. I had a 8-month relationship, which was extremely powerful. It was with a very powerful man who had a strong presence. And kind of all of the boxes were checked in terms of our relationship, but I missed some really big things and definitely self abandoned in a way I didn't know I could still do. So, we're going to be unpacking, what blocks this emotional alchemy in relationship and, what does it really mean to be healthy with another person and to co create together? So, there's so many things we're going to talk about in this season, but self care is something I want you all to get really clear with yourself. I want you to lean in and ask yourself the hard question, does this actually feel good? Do I actually want this? There's a difference between, a fitness goal or a nutritional goal or, where you're developing new patterns, you're figuring out a way to eat healthier, you're wanting to tone and create muscle. All of that's fine. Like I'm not anti any of those things. But that's not self-care, y'all. That's like, that's self-enhancement. That's self-growth. And get it. Get it. But self-care begins with actually learning the self. And I'm going to bet that the majority of you have been ignoring the self for a long time. Some of you might be like, Colleen, I do this every day. I don't know what you're talking about, right? Like, please, please. And if you do, amazing. Tell me more. I want to know more. Please message me, comment, tell me all the things that you do to sit and know thyself, right? I mean, if you look at any of the ancient philosophers or, spiritual leaders of our time, of the human time, this concept continues to emerge. This idea of, true wisdom comes from nothingness. It comes from space. It comes from silence. It comes from allowing, surrendering. It's not seeking, chasing, doing. That's not where it comes from. And I think the consumerist just blob that is our world has taken over the self-care industry and made it everything it's not. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you over the course of the next week to create space and don't fill it. To create space to be with your body, sit with your body, put your hands on your body. You can have, some light music in the background if you want. It's not about not thinking. It's not about not feeling. It's really just allowing. Like sit with your body and allow 10 minutes. Give yourself the opportunity to just see what happens when you sit with yourself and you let yourself actually listen. Listen to your body, listen to your nervous system. Listen to what it's telling you. Don't judge it, don't attach a story, don't try and figure it out, just listen. And ultimately, I think that this is the beginning of what it means to fully know yourself. And then from that place, then we can create some practices, some growth, some enhancements, some alchemy that makes your life fulfilling, that helps you take on all the challenges of life without being overwhelmed, that keeps you in an energetic space, that attracts the love and the money and all the things that you desire because you know yourself. You're not trying to escape yourself constantly. So I invite you to join me this season. I'll be coming on here every week, maybe a couple times a week. I don't know. I'm going to go with the flow, y'all. I'm going to listen to myself. I'll have short episodes like this one. I'll have longer ones where I have guests, which I'm very excited about. And really, it's about, how do we show up together? How do we create this community in this space where we ask for more and we, show up in a way that maybe is a little anti-establishment a little bit. And instead of doing, we actually stop doing and we just continue to be with ourselves. So thank you for joining me on Let the Rest Burn. If you are interested in any previous episodes or continuing to follow me on this podcast, please join me on Substack, The Evolved Therapist or Colleen Nelson on Substack. You'll find me. Also, Let the Rest Burn on Substack and come join me. Subscribe for free. Get a little shot of what I'm doing. I do post blurbs, blogs, posts, little newsletters here and there for my free subscribers. My paid subscribers will get my workshops, monthly Q&As, as well as this podcast. So if you'd like to come join us, I'd love to have you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope that you find some space.